What's up everyone, John from Beyond Air TV. It's time for another installment of my ongoing series, Hate It or Love It. Hate It or Love It is where we take a look at reasons why the internet and people in general either hate or love a certain band or artist. Pretty self-explanatory. Today we're going to be looking at the alternative band 30 Seconds to Mars. I've known about this band for over a decade at this point, and while I haven't been a fan of everything, I am a fan of some of their music, but the internet in general seems to have some very mixed reactions, increasingly so in the past 5 years or so. And that is based upon the music that they're putting out and just the way that the band and Jared Leto, the lead singer of this band in particular, carry themselves. So today, keep in mind that these are the internet's reasons that I have found by scouring places like Reddit, YouTube, and various other sources that I shall keep to myself. But I know that the internet hasn't found favor with 30 Seconds to Mars, at least not in a while since their early days. But we'll take a look at 6 reasons why people hate 30 Seconds to Mars. Keep in mind that it is just the internet's reasons, but I will weigh in with my opinion on each point, and be sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. Let's get right into this. Ever since the band's second album, A Beautiful Lie, dropped in 2005, people have been accusing 30 Seconds to Mars of selling out and changing their sound to a more commercially friendly and viable option. And while I do see that to an extent, it hasn't always been that way. I think A Beautiful Lie is still a good album, and obviously their debut, while not something that was just so far ahead of the curve and doing things so differently, it had a lot of great songs on there. I still come back to Edge of the Earth somewhat often. That self-titled album was a little bit more special, and I can understand why A Beautiful Lie felt like a movement towards rock that was popular at the time, trying to be emo, trying to be a little bit of post-hardcore. Just look to The Kill Bury Me, which I still find to be a very, very good song and very effective. But the change that really occurred, it was between LP2 and then LP3, This Is War, in 2009. That one in particular featured very many chant-styled choruses, a lot of what-ohs, and a lot of just very repetitive motions, and it felt like they were kind of going through the motions even at their concerts. It felt a little bit too far out there for many fans, and a lot of people started to notice that in their early days there was a great stage presence and something that felt unique, and then it turned into something a little bit more, something a little bit more contrived, and I think that that may have affected their sound as well. Over the years, they've definitely watered things down, and on Love, Lust, Faith, and Dreams, their 2013 release, things hit an all-time low because some of those moments just felt too far out there and very, very safe in terms of their commercial-leaning sound. So overall, do I agree with the point? Yes, I unfortunately do. I like much of the band's early stuff, but I do feel like there's been a significant change. Jared Leto is an actor, a musician, and a very eccentric and, for lack of a better word, a very weird and strange person. He's been known to do a lot of odd stuff while on the set of movies, such as gifts to castmates, and just really getting into the role, perhaps a little bit too much. I've always thought that it was a little bit creepy that he always kind of looked so much younger. It looks like he's got a very intense skincare routine that I can't even touch with this baby face. Jared Leto has always had an ego about him, though. I feel like he always seems like he feels like he deserves more than he actually gets. When in reality, even though he is talented, I think that if you constantly go around telling people that you're talented, then it's not as effective. Now, he's actually said a lot of things that I agree with. He gave a very nice speech when Chester Bennington of Linkin Park passed away, so I don't think that the ego rules all, like some people seem to think. But it definitely drives this band. He thinks his ideas are the best, he thinks his movies are the best, and he thinks that everything that he's involved with just automatically turns to gold, and that is not the case. The band in general have also been accused of being very brief and kind of curt and rude at meet and greets that people paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for. I actually found several instances online of people claiming that they had been to these meet and greets and then were kind of rudely greeted by Jared, and just they felt like they weren't important to them whatsoever, even though they were spending their precious money on meeting the band. It's something in general where I feel like that ego might get so inflated that he feels like, I'm too good for this, even though you have an option to sign up for it. And in general, I do feel like that kind of weighs down the band, and it kind of, I guess, kind of helps them stay out of certain territories because the ego's too big to fit through the door. The music is pretentious. A lot of people seem to feel like 30 Seconds to Mars's music is a little bit too over the top, like it's trying very hard to sell you on the fact that it is epic. I mean, just look at some of the titles from the last album. Conquistador, using these old terms like something epic or a big battle is about to go down here, a conqueror, somebody who's going to take over, and all of these themes of war and stuff, when in reality, the music is just not matching up with that whatsoever. Many people claim that Jared Leto isn't able to check those movie roles at the door, and he often treats his music like it is something like a role, and we're not getting anything genuine. And as a result of that, it does come off as pretentious because we're getting one view or one slide of someone, and then it shifts over to the next slide, and who knows what it's going to be when the next album rolls out. Each time around, you kind of play a guessing game with 30 Seconds to Mars because you don't know if you're going to get a song that hits home or if you get something that sounds a little bit too contrived. And where I stand personally, I'm not really affected by this point all that much. I understand why people feel like it might be pretentious, but I don't know how much I agree with it. Number 4, their songs all sound the same. This is a pretty big accusation to level, but I did a little bit of digging and people all over seem to really feel strongly about this. Reddit in particular had several different threads that were talking about this on various subreddits, and while I'm by no means a Reddit expert, I did some digging and it seems like most people are of the mindset that, oh, this music is very, very samey. The choruses are all bland and the instrumentation never really goes anywhere, and as a result, I get bored while listening to it. And I can totally agree with that point. It's something even with A Beautiful Lie, an album that I do own, it's something that I can't spin all that often because it doesn't have that factor to it. I mean, sure, there's some nostalgia there, but if you play an entire album of 30 Seconds to Mars, quite often you kind of get lost in something else. Your mind wanders, and I think a lot of that is the result of their music not being that interesting. It's because the instrumentals are a bit bland. It's because the vocals follow similar patterns. It's because the songs have very similar structures to them. And these days in particular, I'm talking This Is War and Up, the songs try to get these big soaring hooks, but they sound like other pop songs, and as a result, they don't stand out really to anyone, and they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. I think I agree with people on this point, but I'd be curious to know what do you think if you are a fan of this band. Now, point number 5 is something I discovered by following the band for about a month on Twitter and Facebook just to kind of get ready for this video, to see what people were thinking about the band, to see how people were interacting, and to see if people were mainly positive. And of course, if you're on a Facebook fan page or their official Twitter account, more often than not, the top comments and replies are going to be positive. But in the case here, I found the point to be that their fan base seems to be middle-aged moms for the most part that seem to love everything that Jared Leto does. And as a result, people seem to look from the outside. I saw several people commenting on the fact that, oh my goodness, everybody in this fan base is like 40 years old or 30 years old. And that's not ageist whatsoever or sexist, I don't think. It's just like I look at a tweet and literally every reply, you look at the profile picture and it just looks like a mom, and nothing against moms whatsoever. There are bands that are catered towards that, but I feel like this band isn't trying to make music for that crowd, which is very interesting. I think this music is being consumed by that demographic because of Jared Leto, because Jared is hot, or Jared is the best, and it doesn't matter about anybody else in the band. It's Jared's ego trip, and they are getting him off on that fact. My final point today, point number 6, style over substance. This is a big thing with 30 Seconds to Mars, and I will let you know right off the bat that I do agree with this. It is the fact that the songs aren't always there. In fact, they're not there and they're not up to par of quality a lot of the time. But the fact is that they've got the style. Jared Leto's rocking the new shades, or he's got his new haircut, or his hair is long again. And that's a detractor from the fact that the quality of the music is not there. At their concerts, and trust me, I have been to one, they are something. They're something these days. They might have been good in their earlier days, but I saw them with Linkin Park and AFI on the Carnivores tour in 2014, and I was one of the only people in the audience refusing to get get down and bow down when he was like doing this and trying to get everybody down. It's just like, it's this whole facade, it's this whole almost cult type thing, which many people accuse 30 Seconds to Mars of being a cult. I wouldn't go that far, I just think Jared Leto is crazy. It's kind of like Fall Out Boy have done in recent days. They hype everything up to be this epic thing, or this event, or the upcoming Monolith tour. For 30 Seconds to Mars, for example, it's going to be an experience, when in reality it's just a concert where Jared Leto only plays a handful of songs, and he makes the crowd sing along to the majority of them because his voice is shot more often than not. I'm not saying that he doesn't have any talent whatsoever, it's just frustrating, and I witnessed it firsthand. That about wraps it up for this one, guys. What do you think about 30 Seconds to Mars? Why do people hate them? Why do you hate them or love them? Sound off in the comment section down below. Keep in mind, these were just the internet's and my own opinions where I weighed in on this, and I'd be curious to know what you think as well. I know a lot of people that watch my videos probably aren't the hugest fans of them, but still, I'm sure it'll get some mixed reactions in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you are brand new here. Feel free to support me on Patreon if you're able to. Help videos like this keep coming on a monthly basis, not only here, but ARTV as well. It's the annotation in the corner that'll take you over there. If you want to see another 30 Seconds to Mars video, tap right here, or another recent video in the Hate It or Love It series right over here. All of my socials down below, and I'll see you soon on Beyond ARTV.